when you're ready.
I am.
You're looking at Loopy Donuts. You're not ready.
Ready.
Get phones down.
Let's go.
Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the Captain's Log. Star date Wednesday, October 6th. I am Michael P. For those of you who do not know me, I'm the community, social, and content manager here at the Metakey, and we got Matty, the captain.
What's up? What's up? How you guys going? Good to do another one of these.
Yeah, well, this is going to be the first one for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I've basically got in the show notes the assumption we've got a lot of people coming in with edition 4, and they have never seen either one of us before. They've never seen a Captain's Log. So the Captain's Log is a little conversation that we have every 2 weeks to basically update everyone on what we've been doing, what's been going on behind the scenes, what we've been building, what's going through our heads. We try to be as transparent as we possibly can. So if this is your first time in, welcome. This is what we're going to be doing. And this is a good place to start. You don't have to go over the previous 5 because that's a little bit much. You can start here. You're good. You're in good hands.
Yeah. Well, it'll be good to see the first 1 or 2 and then compare it to what we've done so far. I think that'd be good to see.
Yeah.
The rate of progress. But yeah, if you want to get up to speed, this is the one you can watch.
So we have got a lot of people aping in with edition 4 at the moment that have been coming in and are saying, hey, so what is this Metakey?
What do you do with it? Which one do you buy? Yeah, well, the Metakey is a concept, guys, that you can do hundreds of things with the same Metakey. Like a Metakey, basically, an NFT should replace a username and a password system, right? So, like when you subscribe to a monthly newsletter, when you subscribe to, a paid membership on Discord or a YouTube, like a course on a website or something, you have to put a username and password. An NFT, or in our case, a semi-fungible token, some people call it, or the Metakey can actually act as your entry into them. So what we're doing is, okay, we're going to build out this sort of a Discord platform where we have curated information. We'll kind of build this Metakey into different games. We're working on some games internally. We're working on some games that we're plugging into, as you guys know, and we'll go through them later on. And we can do so much more. So not only does it open up access to certain platforms, but it also allows you to use them. It also acts as airdrop. So we got obviously our avatar project. And once we roll that out, I'm sure we can roll a ton more stuff out. But it's an experiment to build a community very, very interested in exploring the Web3 world with us, providing value in every single way we can, and seeing what we can build with that community.
It's difficult to sort of encapsulate what the Metakey is in 1 or 2 sentences. Like, so many NFT projects out there are pretty surface level, I think, for the most part. Like, you take a glance at it and you're like, okay, I get it. I see what it's about. We're a lot more ambitious than your average NFT project, and we also have a much longer sort of projected lifespan, I think, than most NFT projects. There are so many things that we want to do kind of over the months and years. It's not just like, okay, we're going to be releasing an avatar and it's going to do 1 or 2 things and like, that's it, right? We're constantly expanding. We're constantly building new utilities, new integrations. We're trying to plug into absolutely everything in the Web3 infrastructure that sort of comes our way. And yeah, just create this community that is kind of along for this ride as we go. What we normally do for most of these Captain's Logs is talking about what we've been doing in the past couple of weeks. I want to take a slightly broader view on that and actually go back to May and just kind of like blast through everything to get everyone up to speed. But before we do that, I know that people have been asking, people are going to be insisting in the comments. I don't want to relitigate this too much, but we want to talk about the drop. We want to talk about the edition 4 drop.
Best drop ever.
Best drop. Honestly, not the worst drop ever. Not the worst. That's the thing. Like, drops are, you can ask any developer, any founder, drops suck. Drops are never fun.
Yeah, look, again, don't want to touch upon it too much because obviously we did a big video, we discussed it many times, and there's so much we got in the project coming up. Don't really want to be bogged down with this too much, but I think what took us by surprise, or me by surprise, is Rarible going down. Not Rarible's fault, kind of our fault to not really anticipate that much volume. Rarible went down. If Rarible had held for 15 to 30 minutes, then that would have been absolutely fine, because everyone there would have got one, right? If you notice, there was no gas fees issues. No one came in saying, guys, the gas wars is too crazy. I have to pay $3,000 for any of this stuff. And that's one of the reasons why so many people bought so quickly, because there was none of that. You wanted it, you go and you buy it. And people were doing it somehow through Rarible. Many people missed out, but that was one of the reasons we went in with that, because gas would not be an issue. It wasn't an issue. The issue was the site going down. So that was probably the biggest problem. And obviously there was no limit to how many people could buy. And we couldn't set that limit with Rarible. So going with Rarible for the last 3 to 4 drops prior had been absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I think we sold out between 15 and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Again, absolutely fine, because everyone in Discord that had the heads up went and bought one. There was no gas. We had always said, hey guys, that was the smoothest experience ever.
Yeah.
There was never an issue with those drops, right?
Yeah, Edition 3 was great. We sold out in 24 minutes. There was a lot of traffic then as well.
Yeah.
There were no gas fees, and everyone that wanted one got one because the site held up.
Yeah.
It was totally fine.
No gas issues.
Yeah.
You had to pay gas, but you didn't have to pay thousands or hundreds of dollars. And the site held up, and we were like, okay, great. That's worked 3 times in a row. Why wouldn't it work this time when we have 10x the supply? We had 7x the supply of the last one, right? So we were like, okay, maybe it sells out in 24 hours, maybe 48, but at least a couple of hours. Like, there's no way it'll go like that, right? Anyway, it happened, and it was like a big shock for me, and I'm sure the team, to put some brakes on some of this stuff and just anticipate the worst, and push things forward if we have to, or back if we have to, just to get the right tech stuff and make sure the right people get it. So yeah, that's what we learned. We did a big learning sort of strategy meeting and a brainstorm, and we're just going to move forward with what we got planned and get better at the next drop.
If you guys are interested, I will link this in the description below. You've probably already seen it by now, but we did a big breakdown about everything that happened, everything that went wrong, everything that we learned from it. Yeah, basically Rarible crashed on us. We trusted Rarible to be able to handle it. Their contract is uneditable. Wasn't an issue before. We were hoping that wasn't going to be an issue this time. It was. It crashed. It died on us. And so did one of our Discord bots that handles a lot of like spam filter and stuff like that. It basically got DDoSed. We had a scammer drop into the server and run a script that just basically posted like 1 million links a second until our Discord bot was just like, all right, well, I can't pass this many at once. And it overloaded the server and crashed it for a couple of minutes. But what we did, you guys can see here, we actually identified every single wallet that had been affected by that and just reimbursed them for the ETH that they lost for buying these fake Metakeys, which was a bit of a hit for us, but you know, that's what you got to do, right?
Felt right at the time.
Yeah.
So what did we learn moving forward? Like, what are we going to do things differently? I think
no third-party marketplace.
No third-party marketplaces. No. Take it in-house.
Yeah.
I mean, build a contract ourselves. I think the fact that we can sell these at minimal gas should be fine. Like, that part of it will always be a tick, I think, as long as Ethereum gas isn't too extreme. And I also think making maybe a snapshot of wallet addresses that we qualify as people that want them. So maybe we'll do a whitelist.
Yeah.
I think a whitelist makes sense. I think a list of people that already have the Metakeys makes sense, because you guys might want to get the next one as a collector piece, and we don't want to not allow that. I mean, we don't want you guys to miss out. So those that already have a Metakey, those that are in the whitelist, and we'll see how many of those we can pretty much snapshot all of those addresses and let those get a piece of the Metakey first. And then once all of that private sale has been done, then we go to a public one. So we'll probably have 2 events, one being that private sale being the whitelisted ones. And I'm not sure, maybe we'll just say you can buy just 1 or 2, so that everyone gets at least 1 or 2. We don't want someone to buy like 50 from that whitelist. But then, you know, the second one's a free for all. So at least you've got your 1 or 2 as your collector piece or whatever, and maybe one for you and your friend. And the rest is public.
Yeah, the whitelist idea.
And even when we go public, sorry, real quick, Michael. But even when we go public, what we can do, again, if it's a custom thing, is put a limit on how many you can do on one transaction, which obviously we didn't do with Rarible because we couldn't.
Yeah.
But we can say, okay, max you can buy 5 per transaction.
Yeah. So when we first started using Rarible back in May, what they were doing was best practice at the time. And as we all know, like in the last 5 months, the space has evolved so much, so quickly. It's only really in the last month that this whitelist process has been kind of fine-tuned by a couple of recent releases and has started to establish itself as like the new best practice. And Rarible hasn't sort of kept up, right? And we've sort of kept trusting that they would have. But what we want to do now is get Victor, our dev, to write this custom smart contract where we can have whitelisting, we can have transaction limits, and whatever is kind of coming next that we can observe as being best practice, we can basically write into that, we can implement it because we will be the ones in control.
Yeah.
The one thing that we can't control is front end stuff, like website crashing and stuff happens all the time. But what we can do to mitigate that is basically show everyone exactly how to mint from contract for this custom contract, which is another thing you can't do with Rarible. Their contracts are designed to be very difficult to bot, which means they got a bunch of proxies, which makes them really, really difficult to actually like mint from the contract. But we'll be showing you guys how to do that for the next one.
But in terms of the next drop, guys, we're not even talking about it internally. We have maybe some conversations, maybe some view of what the artist is, but our focus is just to build our roadmap at the moment. So don't worry, we're not dropping the next one anytime soon unless you guys are begging for it, basically.
Yeah.
Similar to edition 4, like every single day we'd get at least 3 to 5 comments on when edition 4. We won't drop anything until it makes sense, the value makes sense. There's a reason to hold edition 4. Like there's reason not to just dump your edition 4 and go buy edition 5 or anything. If you noticed, and I generally don't like talking about price, but if you noticed, the dropping of edition 4 didn't affect much of the previous prices. They all stayed the same. In fact, they're increasing. And that's because we have mechanisms based around that to allow us to continue doing drops. So we're not going to do another drop until it makes sense to do so. And you guys are very clear what the reason is to hold and the value proposition and, the financial aspect, obviously.
So once again, I'll link this blog in the description below. And I'll also have a video link for Matty's stream that he did right after the drop. And if you guys, want to dig into it more, you can basically do so there.
Yeah.
And if you've got any questions, then drop them on Discord. We'll be happy to answer them. So, as I was saying, I want us to kind of step back a little bit and take a bit more of a macro view in what we've been doing since May and what people have missed. So this is going to be like pretty rapid fire.
Okay.
But basically what you guys have missed, those of you who are coming on board right now with edition 4, you've missed what I like to describe as phase 1. It's basically us building our foundations, us building up our team from originally just Matty and Mossy to now we've got, oh my goodness, even in the last couple of days we picked up some more. So we're probably approaching like a dozen people in-house now.
All right, yeah. I hired another 2. I had an interview with 2 yesterday. For the research role. We've got probably 7 or 8 internally already. I think we've got 6 or 7 internally, and then we've got a couple off, like not in Australia. And then interviewed another 2, which I'll probably hire. So we have probably 9 or 10.
Yeah. So a lot of this phase 1 has been about like, finding the right people for the right jobs, right? That's a big part of it, building these foundations. Again, for a project that is something that we want to continue for years, right? It's not like a one and done. The second is building the foundations of partnerships, actually like reaching out and setting up these integrations. A lot of that has looked like, doing giveaways, doing kind of like wearable drops and stuff like that, basically just kind of scoping out other people in the space and starting to establish partnerships. The third one is community. Obviously, we've been going super ham on building community because that is like the absolute kind of essential foundation for this project, I think. And really any like successful project in NFTs, like community building, I think is much more important than most other things. And then finally, actually building up our branding and our IP.
which we didn't have at all.
We didn't. So I'm
We didn't even have a
interested.
logo.
Exactly, you didn't even have a logo. What did you have when you launched the first Metakey in May? In terms of your idea of like what the Metakey brand, the Metakey IP was?
I had zero idea of the IP. So IP is basically the branding, the vision, what it looks like, what it does, the culture and everything behind the project.
You just knew that what you wanted it to
I
be.
just was like, oh, you know what? You can put a Metakey into multiple, like hundreds of different things in the next year, and it'll work.
That was the
like
vision.
that was it.
Yeah.
And then Michael came on board, and then we had some brainstorming. Like, oh, why don't we put some mascots out there? Why don't we add some culture? Then the avatar thing popped off, and we're like, all right, well, why don't we add avatars? Suddenly everyone has an identity. Why don't we have a ship in Decentraland which can go into different places? And suddenly there was this sort of
You're getting ahead of the slideshow.
my bad, brand
Give us a moment.
built.
We had Poppy come on, who was originally going to be your PA, and turned out that she was actually a fantastic visual designer as well. So she came up with our logo, which I think has become absolutely iconic at this point. But this was basically kind of step one in establishing what our branding was, what our design language was. And this is kind of what we're working with at the moment. And like, it's grown on all of us so much. I know, like, was it you or Mossy that went like 100% on it?
I think we both won 100% on it. Yeah, we both like. Again, it's at the start of this. I've never been a founder that had 5 to 6 employees or colleagues in the company. I've always worked by myself. So for me, it's always been a very controlling process. I don't like that logo. I want you to do it this way. I like the color orange. But then, at the end of the day, I had to reset my thinking and Mossy's thinking as to we got to trust the experts, Poppy, Billy, the artists, the creatives, to know what's best for the community. So it didn't really, wasn't 100% on it, but like now I love it.
I really think that it has like started to become absolutely iconic. Like, our plan was to basically phase out the text once the logo itself had gotten to the point where people could just instantly recognize it. And I think we're pretty much there. But basically, we took this and we started looking at freelance artists, and basically we had this idea of space pirates, right? That we were going to be pirates exploring the metaverse, looting NFTs, charting new worlds, basically on this big sort of exploratory adventure, basically. Because that's kind of the feeling and the motivation, I think, behind the Metakey, right? Is to explore these new frontiers and kind of collect what we can and learn what we can to kind of move forward, right? So we took that idea and we gave it to a concept artist, Stygian, who came up with a captain for this Metapirate crew. And basically this captain design became the genesis for our design language, which was going to inform like absolutely everything else, because we want everything to be completely consistent across this IP. We're basically building this whole universe. And a lot of the work of our artists in the last 4 months has basically been about that. So we got Billy on board, who's our art director, who's based in New Zealand, who basically took this design language and ran with it, started applying it to ships, going back through some of our old stuff here, employing, a combination of the iconography of the captain and her design language with our logo, as you can kind of see there, and applying it to designs for lands and buildings, in Decentraland and in Sandbox, building up this flagship, which is basically going to be the main part of our build in Decentraland, but also like in a lot of other spaces. You're going to see in Sandbox, you'll see in Somnium Space, you've already seen it on the card, on the 4th edition card. So this is where our design language is basically taken us so far. So a huge part of the last 4 months has been basically building a brand, which we can then start to apply to all these different integrations, all these different projects that we're constructing, right? So that's been a huge part of that work. Then, of course, we come to the crew, which we'll get to in a little bit, because every ship's got to have a crew, right? Another thing you guys have missed, you've missed a whole lot of partnerships, a whole lot of giveaways, which I think has been kind of a huge part as well. I'll blast through those real quick. We've done stuff with Artifact Studios. You can see there they gave us some some sneakers in DCL. We had the first ever Formula One licensed wearable from Sir Jackie Stewart there. His iconic, I think it's from 1969 helmet. We, of course, partnered with Sandbox and acquired a massive amount of land there. They designed this little keybot for us, which they distributed to people that were participating in their summer land sale. We partnered with Alice in Wonderland for some robes that acted as a ticket to basically all of her events and all of her concerts that she's going to be doing in the metaverse over time. We partnered with Ethamon. We're building Ethamons. Partnered with CyberKong. And they did an exclusive little CyberKong's tracksuit there, which was a trait that could drop on their, what do they call it, the VX?
Yeah, Kong VX or something.
Yeah, their
VX.
latest iteration, basically. Partnered with Somnia, we've partnered with Degenerates, NFT Dungeon, Vogus, Galaxy Fight Club, Hexarchia, Influence. These are all just the ones that I had graphics for handy. We've honestly had like dozens and dozens of partnerships that have been about like giveaways and drops and as I said, basically establishing relationships with other people that are starting to build up in the space that over time we can basically plug into and create more and more and more utility for the Metakey and for Metakey holders over time.
And the partnerships at the moment may seem, yeah, we're integrating into their games and all that, but I think the future of this space is doing experiences together. So the CyberKong is one that you guys saw. I can see us building games in Sandbox together, right? And bringing our community and their community, having this sort of a play-to-earn model possibly, where you can earn NFTs, maybe cryptocurrency, etc. So these are, obviously, it definitely takes a lot of time to build all these out. What we are going through right now is a phase of internal culture and also connecting that with whoever else is thinking the same way. So that's, I think a lot of that is still to be done, but next year, obviously, we're quite well funded now, so they'll be pushing a lot of this stuff out. So there is games and experiences.
Another thing you guys have missed is that we've been putting a lot of effort into building up the Discord, which I'm sure you guys are starting to explore now. But we've got a lot of really compelling free and premium stuff in here. If you haven't already discovered NFT strategy, this is basically one of the best places to find alpha. We've got so many keymasters that are just like absolute pros that are clued in to so many projects like way before anyone else sees them. And this is kind of the place to find all that. We of course have the DAO stuff in here, which we'll come to as well in a little bit. We've got these wallet trackers. You can see everything that Matty's doing. You can see all the habos that he's aped into. And has it come up with your donuts yet? Yes, it has.
I should go in there and tell them why.
Just picked up your donuts.
I'm just half the time just YOLOing. Damn, I'm hungry now.
Yeah, and your Pudgy penguins as well. But so this is just for key holders. You can see everything that Matty's buying. You can also see Gary V's wallet. You can see Beanie's wallet. You can see Frank's wallet.
So these were voted on, right?
Yeah, these were voted on. We had the DAO vote on which of these three they'd prefer to be tracking, and it was basically split like 30% between each of them.
Right.
So we were just like, "Hey Vic, you're gonna have to do all of them, buddy."
Oh, there you go. So this is how we're also getting the DAO to contribute to directing us on how to make this stuff better for you guys. We have our idea as to what will provide value in terms of the Discord, but if you guys can tell us whatever you want, we're well funded now, so we can just provide anything, right? Yeah.
We've got private and public giveaways as well. As you guys know, Matty does a public giveaway pretty much every day. Every day to do streaming, and we do some pretty cool private ones as well.
And the private ones we've given away, actually the first week or two we gave away a lot of stuff. I think we gave like a Nintendo Switch, a physical one, obviously the Genesis Kong, American Psycho cards, like official NFT cards. Anything that we get, usually people give us NFTs to give away that goes into the verified private giveaway.
And I've been neglecting to talk about this for the last couple of logs because honestly I struggled to keep up with it because Anubis is just like doing so much stuff in his little dungeon here. But Anubis, one of our mods, has got the Duart art residency where he's actually taking anyone that is interested in art or is making their own art in the Metakey community and helping basically elevate what they're doing and how they're approaching the NFT space, helping them get their head around how to kind of, mint and market, and also everyone else how to like discover quality art and to think about and sort of analyze quality art in the space. Anubis has got a master's degree in fine art, and he's like extremely knowledgeable in the kind of art space. So he's our resident art expert that is, again, just providing an enormous amount of value in here with regular streams and analyses for anyone that's interested in art. He's providing that publicly for free. So that's really great. Another thing you guys have been missing out on is the Shark Tank.
Yeah. Oh, we're in there.
Yeah,
Sweet.
we're in there.
So we got this building up. So this is our whole land. Michael, if you could just show the whole land that we have.
There's a lot.
We have, if you click M, I think the map comes up.
You got 80 parcels. Hang on, I need to turn the UI back on. Yeah, all of this here, right?
Yeah, all of that is ours.
Yeah.
That's 80 parcels of land that we have.
Yeah.
That little Shark Tank building sits on 4 of the 80. And so far, we can go in there and we can stream. So what we've done in the past is have this sort of a pitch area with 4 projects come and tell us about what they are, what they're doing, and the community tune in and vote who they think should get the funding from us, me personally funding, and also the Metakey funding. What we are going to do with this is continue to build it out and have more pitching regularly, having more notable investors, or talking to Whale Shark, talking to potentially even Metacoven, potentially maybe even like Seb and from Sandbox or anyone. Like we can get these personalities to come in and give people advice or give their opinions on things. And even you guys, like you guys can be judges, right? We can get community members. This is not just like my high chair over here. Like I'd love to pitch you guys about what I'm doing and what we're thinking, and let you guys tell us what to do. So this is just a fun little, it's not as serious as the real Shark Tank.
No.
But it's a way to bring projects to light. Again, it's about to build a community and a culture of people utilizing the virtual spaces, these NFT projects, to do stuff. So that's what we have planned. And these are one of probably like 20 different experiences that we're going to build.
If you're working on a project and you're a key holder, you'd like to pitch in the Shark Tank and maybe get a little bit of funding, but more importantly, get some feedback from us and from the community, you can actually drop us a proposal form here. And we do these sessions. We're basically planning on doing them once a month, where we get people to pitch for 5 minutes. We give them some feedback. The community gives them some feedback. We do a little bit of a Q&A, AMA kind of thing, and then we decide basically out of that who we're going to give some funding to.
It's a pretty good launch pad, guys. Like if you have a good project and you're looking for investors, or you're looking to just bring it out there and find some developers or a partner or anyone, just get some feedback. It is really good, because this is going to be an event that will attract a lot of investors and people to just bring eyeballs to your project. So we are just getting started with what this is, and even the next one is just a small version of what it's going to be in probably the next 4 to 5 months.
Absolutely. Another thing that you guys have missed so far that we launched last month is the Metakademy. You go to app.themetakey.com and log in with your MetaMask. It'll check for your Metakey. It will give you access to this. What's the Metakademy, Matty? What's this
The
about?
Metakademy is a concept of having community members pull out courses or curate courses and add 3 to 4 videos or 5 videos or however many they want on specific topics, and us being able to just go through them. It's a whole locked course database that you can only access if you have the Metakey.
Yeah. So we've just started now. We've got about half a dozen courses on there at the moment, but we're building that up.
We're going to get someone, sorry, real quickly, Michael, but we're going to get someone employed full-time to probably lead this as its own standalone product and just keep building it, keep getting, knowledge that you guys want added to this. And so suddenly, imagine like from NFT to minting, from the contract to everything you can want about the NFT space, whatever you guys want, it should, ideally we want an expert to kind of provide that knowledge. I mean, there's no 10 years experienced experts in this space, right? We're all kind of new, but the knowledge bank that they have, if we can just add it to here, this is currently live. You can actually go in here with the Metakey and watch the 6 or 7 courses that we have already. We're going to accelerate on this pretty heavily in the coming months.
You can actually learn how to write a smart contract and mint like your own NFTs in like an hour. ridiculous. Vic is very, very efficient with his course, but we got other stuff like how to run an Axie scholarship and basically earn passive income through that, how to basically market an NFT project and develop like a small business in the space. I
think gaming, Keigijan did one on gaming.
Yeah. So, there's going to be a lot more kind of gaming and like play to earn sort of gaming management stuff coming down as well. But I mean, the idea is that it's curated by the community, it's generated by the community. You guys are submitting courses.
And we actually pay,
basically. Yes.
So we commission those. So I mean, you guys are welcome to do it for free, but we value your time, so we pay you guys to put a course in here, and you're helping the community, and hopefully that helps you a little bit in buying more NFTs. Yeah,
the conceit is basically so many people in the community have come from so many different walks of life, so many different industries that have transferable knowledge and transferable skills to the world of NFTs that basically we can leverage. So if you submit a course, I will help you kind of walk through the process for how to set it up, how to record it, and all that. And we pay you for your time and your work. So it's a nice way to actually like employ and give back to the community as well. Otherwise, you can request a course if there's something that you really want to see in the Metakademy that you don't think has been covered or hasn't been covered elsewhere. Then this is a good way to basically ask us to go and find someone to do it. We have quite a few of those on the list, actually.
There you go.
I think really near the top of the list at the moment is like security, best practice, NFT security, and NFT hygiene, I think. Yeah, so we got the Metakademy. We've also got the DAO, which we launched recently, which everyone, every key holder is a part of. You can participate in Discord, but basically we're getting people to propose and vote on proposals for stuff that we want to implement, stuff that we want to build, stuff that we want to develop, stuff that's not necessarily attached to the roadmap, but it's just like stuff that you guys want. You can make a proposal in the DAO, and we vote on it, and then we implement it. So most recently, I already talked about the wallet trackers. We also had this one for Influence. Influence wanted to give us an asteroid in their game, which is going to be kind of pay to earn, and we're going to be able to build a sort of guild around. And they were like, hey, what type of asteroid do you want? Here are the options. We put it to the DAO. The DAO basically decided what they thought was best. We got that. We also got, which one of these wearables we're going to make first out of the meta crew of our avatar project. Which one of these three options would people most like to see as a wearable for Decentraland? So we got that as well, and that's starting to be built. So there's going to be basically DAO proposals coming in most weeks, depending on what we've got coming down the pipeline. It could be as many as like 2 or 3 times a week. It's another one to keep an eye on. And then we've got Crypto Art Pulse, which is another interesting little value proposition for Metakey holders, which is basically going to be a precedent for a type of proposition we want to be basically expanding to other sites. So what's this one about?
Is there one? Can we refresh that and see if the ad pops up?
Guys, turn off your ad blocker for Crypto Art Pulse, all right?
Yeah.
There we go.
So what we've done is there's a back end where if you scroll all the way down, you can open up this advertise button, and only if you have the Metakey can you log in. So it says connect with your MetaMask. And then when you connect with your MetaMask, you can actually book, based on which Metakey you have, you can actually book a day of where you want your ad to be placed, or when you want it to be placed, the date, and how many days and the duration you want it to be placed. So if you have a project or an art piece that you're launching, you can actually use Crypto Art Pulse ad banner, the top space, for it's reserved for the Metakey community. So that's a pretty interesting thing. We're going to be building way more websites coming forward, and suddenly your Metakey can vote on stuff. It can go in here and you can watch courses. You can go in here and book ads. And this is like 3 to 4 things that we have, like different ideas that we're experimenting with, that we'll double down with as we can do more.
Basically, we could talk about for hours everything that we've been doing in the last 4 months. And if you want to learn more, you can scroll back through our Twitter feed, our announcements, or go and watch the previous Captain's Log. But I think that's a pretty good kind of like top level overview of what's been going on.
That's all the stuff we've done so far.
It's not all the stuff we've done so far.
No, it's some of the stuff.
It's a little teaser, a little taste of stuff we've done so far. So, like I say, what we'd like to do in this show basically is go over specifically the stuff we've been doing since the previous Captain's Log, the stuff we've been doing in the last couple of weeks. So, we'll talk about that. A lot of the last couple of weeks has been taken up with the drop, obviously. But before and around that, we had quite a few other things going on. We had, this was a lot of fun. Javier Marino, our artist for Edition 4, is an absolute treasure. I cannot believe that this guy has only been doing 3D animation for 12 months. Mm-hmm. And he's already producing, like, you guys have seen the Edition 4 key, obviously. But we had a long conversation with him about his process and his journey, which was a great conversation, which you guys can actually see here on YouTube as well. And he answered a lot of your questions. But yeah, if you're not following Javier, it's jmarino_VFX on Twitter. You should definitely be keeping an eye on everything that he's doing. We also had a kind of experimental drop here from Paper D, who's a community member. He's a keymaster. He's a moderator now as well. He's doing some stuff in the NFT radar. He's actually doxed himself as the creative director of DreamWorks Animation. And he came to us and he was like, hey, I want to do a special art piece that is Metakey themed that we drop to all Metakey holders. And we thought, wow, what a fantastic idea for like community generated exclusive NFT art. Mm-hmm. We got Vic to basically set up this special claim contract and claim website, which you guys used to claim this. There was a pretty brief window for this guy, after which
the rest were burned.
Yeah.
Did he make that?
He made this gift just to announce.
It's pretty good.
I honestly like.
He's really good.
Like yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah. So we'll come back to this precedent that basically that we've set with this this Paper D drop, but it's pretty exciting to me. The other thing we did, we hit 10K followers on Twitter and 10K Discord members pretty much at the same time. So we were like, all right, we're going to give away 10 Edition 4s over 10 days. We're going to give away one a day. We're going to do it across various spaces in our Discord, on our Twitter, in various partner spaces. So basically, we've been pushing that. We've been doing that. It's been a lot of fun, and I think like quite successful. Maybe a little too successful since we got the Kong's attention.
Yeah.
But yeah, that has been great, and that's actually going to be finishing up today. So we'll be sending those out to the winners today. But this is not going to be the last time that we give away Edition 4s. As we mentioned earlier, we're giving away like lots of stuff all the time for various events. But yeah, that's basically just been what we've been giving away the last couple of weeks. We made some new hires, which I think you touched on before. But we've got a new social media person who's going to help me a lot, take a little bit of the load off of my bandwidth. Sarah, she's starting in a couple of days. You guys have probably seen her hang around Discord already, but she's fantastic, a very experienced social media manager who's going to be really helping a lot with stuff in Discord, stuff on Twitter, with new events, with expanding our brand to other platforms, exploring Instagram, maybe TikTok. Basically, wherever we can find NFT nerds.
Yeah.
Which is definitely going to be like expanding to a lot of other spaces over time. You hired a couple of researchers.
Yeah, I put up this. I kind of had this realization last week, or I guess over the last 6 months, that I just can't keep up with the NFT space. I don't think anyone can. Not one group can. So it's one of the reasons why we have a Discord group and an NFT strategy channel, because we can collectively help each other. But what if we had a dedicated research team that provided information on any and every project that looked promising and put that out as a report or a snippet of information that's easily digestible? So I've hired 2 people. One will be a researcher, one will be a social person. This was originally for my brand, DCL Blogger, but there'll be a lot of cross collaboration with Metakey. In fact, they'll probably just end up working with Metakey. And all that research will be taken with Sunny, Ego, and I think the team will be about 3 to 4 maybe people. They'll be keeping tabs on, art that looks good, from games that are coming up, from avatar projects to anything else that's kind of new. Generative art was a thing, that shouldn't have been missed. Everything that looks innovative, we can maybe have an innovative section, like what's new about this project. We need to just basically filter out this noise, find things that are specific, and the specifics that we need to pay attention to, and put that out as information. So I had that idea for myself, but you know what? The Metakey community needs it, so we're going to put it through the Metakey Discord somehow.
Yeah, we'll plug it into there. It'll be basically an extension of the value prop, I think, of the NFT radar and the NFT strategy channel, right? It's like we just want to give people as much, but also as like effectively distilled information about the space and what's happening as we possibly can, just to make sure that everyone is getting like the absolute best information from us and from holding their Metakey, right? That I think is a really important aspiration that we're going to keep building towards. The other thing is, obviously, we've had a massive influx of new Discord members. We do not have enough moderators at the moment, so I'm onboarding a couple. You guys probably saw on the Discord, I made an announcement the other day to gather some expressions of interest for a few more. So we'll be getting, I think, about half a dozen new moderators on board.
Nice.
Which will be kind of really, really helping you guys with all your questions, all your queries, but also, leading discussions about, new projects and NFTs, and just providing more value for the Discord server, which is, really the foundation of our community, Then we made some use of the Shark Tank. We want to do a lot of community events in the metaverse. One thing that kind of separates the Metakey from a lot of other projects is we want to do a lot of like in metaverse community-oriented, community-generated events. And we had the guys from BYO Pills reach out to us, and they were like, hey, we want to screen this indie film, and we want to do basically a Q&A with the writers and producers and editors of this film for our community, but we don't have any land in DCL. We don't really have the ability to do this. Do you guys mind if we hosted at the Shark Tank? And we were like, yeah, sure, cool. So we had this cool movie night, and we got to hang out with the producers and directors of this film, which had some really incredible insights both into their their craft and their industry, but also their interest in NFT space coming from their perspective, right, as filmmakers, which I think is going to be a really interesting and compelling kind of angle to approach from that I don't think anyone's really kind of had much of a look at. Like we've got music coming into NFTs a little bit starting to happen now. Obviously we've got art, but I don't know if we've had much much in the way of film. We've
had some experiments. I think some mainstream films have done something with NFTs.
Yeah,
but I think it's a start of what will be a lot more with it in films and NFTs for sure. Whether that means like pre-screenings or a little collectible poster or something, but definitely.
I think particularly for indie films, right, is that this space is a way to, in the same way that musicians are looking at this space as a way to reach their audience and monetize their craft without having to pay 70% to a publisher or middleman or agent or whatever. They can just connect with people directly. It seems like the indie film industry is going to be exploring that as well. So this was a really interesting event, a really cool conversation. Another thing we've been working on is building up this Ethamon Partnership. You guys can see the mon that we have designed here. Well, I should say that Poppy designed, and Yui, one of our 3D artists, has been rendering there. We've got a little bit of animation here of this little guy and what his animations are going to be like in Decentraland, which is he's really cute.
What's he doing?
I think he's like having a sleep there. Yeah, having a bit of a sleep. He's getting grumpy. And
it's getting dizzy. Oh, these are animations like when he's killed or punched or something. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's like the full animation set for that one that we're going to be seeing in DCL, which is pretty cool. We've also got a work in progress trailer here, which I may as well show you guys. This is not a final product, but this is going to be basically part of our marketing push for this this partnership, this integration. Kind of see these guys in motion a little bit. I'm really excited for this one. I think this one's really cool, and this is really going to like set the standard for the types of gaming integrations that we want to have moving forward. But that's not the only Ethamon that we're doing. You wanted another little guy. How is this working out?
Yeah, so this one, guys, is supposed to be, what we're trying to do is get everyone that has a Metakey a mon, and have an iconic mon that you can get if you find it, right? We don't want like everyone to get the iconic mon.
Yeah.
So this one is going to be one that everyone gets.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like an orb or some sort of a scoutamon that you can use to kind of give you a stat boost to try and drop at a higher rate the other mon. So you kind of research, and while you're battling and stuff, you'll have a higher chance of dropping the other mon compared to who doesn't have this. So this is kind of our way to give everyone in the Metakey community a mon, and then gamify it a little bit so you can find the really cool sort of iconic bird mon, which is our pet.
We've got this one. We've got the design sorted out. It's rendered. We're working on the animation and stuff for it. This one, we're still just in like the concept process. This was the first sketch that Poppy did. She did a couple of little sketches about, I mean, basically what you told her is it was an orb, right? She was like, okay, I need to make a monster out of an orb. Let's see what we got. Then Yui came to us with this one, a 3D concept. And this is basically where we're at the moment, is that Billy's made some notes on Yui's design there just to make it kind of like pop a little bit more. So this is one we're going to be dropping to everyone. Everyone gets it for free, and when they hold it, they can go and find the other one, the cool one, which doesn't have a name. I was trying to think of its a name, and I was like, oh wait, it doesn't.
We don't have a name for this one. What's this?
We don't have a name for either of them yet. Yeah.
Orby.
I think we'll come up with a couple of names and maybe put it to the DAO. That seems like a good one for the DAO, right? Yeah. So that's where we're at with Ethamon. So that's what we've been doing with them the last couple of weeks. And then we've got our buildings. Last time we were talking about our buildings for our HQ in Decentraland, our building for the Metaverse Festival, where we're going to have this exclusive VIP backstage area. We're going to be interviewing celebrities and all kinds of cool stuff like that over several days. And also these MetaZone builds, which we're basically going to be allowing everyone to kind of have access to and drop onto their own land and use and customize. So we had this. This was the latest 3D concept. We got this one. So you guys have all seen the ship in 3D. It's going to be sitting on top of our main building. This main building is going to take up about 20 parcels. So obviously we're going to have a lot of other stuff around it, which we're working on. But this was the 3D concept that we were looking at last Captain's Log, and this is what we've got at the moment. So we've put a fair bit of work into upgrading it and getting it all sort of in line with the same design language as the ship. But this is what Billy's come up with for the 3D concept. And really, this should be all done and ready to deploy within the next couple of weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think the main thing...
The ship is done.
The ship is done. The main thing is the ship's internals need to be done. So we've got like the shell of the ship, but we need to like, hollow it out and put all the rooms in and kind of design and organize everything in there. Because it's going to have, a lot of exclusive spaces with various functions. But this is going to be our main building. I think you've got some ideas of like the kind of stuff that is going to be in here, the kind of stuff that you want to do with it. Yeah.
Meetups is just a no-brainer, just to have a chat. I think round tables where we can discuss certain events and different directions, like what do you guys think about this? What should we build over there? Which partnerships should we take? So kind of like part of the DAO process will be a conversation and then into the DAO. And then museums, iconic things and events that happen from our community, we can kind of immortalize them in here somehow. Art, the story of our maybe like 3D avatars can sit in here, so we can do a 3D model of our partnership. So maybe we can have a Vogu in there, or anyone else that we partner up, they're going to be an NPC character that will tell you guys about where to go, and we can have some quests. And this is where sort of like, yes, we do set up all these things, and then we start to do some quests and games in DCL and Sandbox. And I think that's really like the next year sort of thing. So at the end of this year, hopefully we'll have a lot of this stuff out, and by next year we should have a lot of like questing and a lot of fun stuff to do eventually.
Yeah, basically we're building up the land, we're putting the buildings in, we're kind of putting the infrastructure in there, and then it's about, you know, creating experiences and gamifying it and kind of keeping people engaged in those spaces. So yeah, there's a top view of our land there. That gives you an idea, right? You can see it takes up 21 parcels, this main building here. This is the concept that we were looking at last time for our Backstage VIP area during the Metaverse Festival, where, as I said, it's going to be exclusive to Metakey holders. You can get in here, and a lot of the kind of celebrity guests and performances and stuff that are a part of the festival are going to be basically directed over here for us to do some cool, like, exclusive stuff with over the course of the festival. There's a shot of the internal, but we've actually got a first little deployment test here. So this isn't textured. This is literally just the 3D model that's been deployed before it started to be like cleaned up and edited and stuff, just to make sure that it's sort of working in engine.
Nice.
Yeah, but already, like, it's pretty cool. You get an idea. We obviously, like I say, none of it's textured, so we don't have the nice like glass front or anything. You can see there's like a little bit of clipping and stuff. We need to kind of, we still need to clean it up. But for a first deployment, like it's looking pretty cool. I think it's a pretty cool building design.
How many parcels is that?
That is
that 2x2?
5x3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, 15, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not small. We've got a lot of space to play around with. We'll probably take that once we're done with the Metaverse Festival. We might put it on our land, or we might just put it up on MetaZone for people to use if they want.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's actually gonna. So I was actually talking to Metaverse Festival, the festival district lead, which is James, and he was like, "Hey, Matty, this is awesome what you guys are doing. Why not make it a permanent addition to the festival land?"
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we can do more events there and coordinate with all the stuff that they're doing, and it'll be a permanent sort of backstage addition to whatever they bring in.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, or anything else. Like it could be. Okay. We can have events there, and musicians come and they can rent that out or just use it from our community.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I wasn't aware that the festival land was going to be like a permanent fixture, but that's really.
It could.
It could be.
It could.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so this could be a place where we do like regular events and concerts and stuff like that, just kind of separate from the Metakey land. But yeah, the concept you're seeing there is going to be a little bit closer to what it's actually going to look like when it's fully textured and everything. So that's quite exciting. And then the other thing, of course, are these MetaZone buildings. How exactly does this work? What's the value proposition of these?
So the value proposition is that when you go into these virtual spaces, so the metaverse concept will be a almost definite thing in the coming year or two, where you'll be going to Decentraland or the Sandbox, and then you'll need assets to kind of make your homes, your galleries, all that sort of stuff. And if you've had land in Decentraland, you know that either you've got to drag and drop and make it yourself, or get a designer or a developer to make it. If you're going to get a designer to make it, probably a $500 to $1,000 layout if you want it custom built, or a prefabbed one you can probably get for between $10 to $50, sometimes a couple $100. So this concept was, why don't we make Metakey ones for our community where you can go into MetaZone, which is a website where you can download assets or buildings and drag and drop them into your land. And this one's just for the Metakey community where we're going to have like maybe mini shops and galleries and just homes and stuff that you can just put into your land and use.
Yeah, so at the moment we're building up these kind of modular storefronts is going to be the kind of main function of the buildings we're doing at the moment. This is just kind of the concept stuff you see here, but we've got Tyler building the 3D models. So you can see a couple of shots there. That's kind of a stall that would be sitting inside one of these buildings. And basically you're going to be able to take these and we're going to provide some assistance in sort of customizing them, replacing textures with stuff that you want to like advertise your product or whatever it is. and that should be coming like pretty soon as well. Yeah, so that's what we're working on at the moment with buildings. Sandbox is going to be basically the next priority. Once we have deployed the buildings in Decentraland, we're going to be going absolutely ham on Sandbox, and we'll speak to that a little bit more in a moment. Another thing we got coming up real soon is some more drops. We've got this Vogu X Metakey wearable for Decentraland. We've got some, it's finished, we got some in-game shots you can see there. It's based on one of their more iconic traits from the Vogu avatars, for those of you who aren't familiar with it. But a lot of people have been asking, like, why Decentraland wearables? Why so much stuff that is about, like, metaverse identity as opposed to, like, other types of drops, other types of integrations? There's a couple of reasons for that, but the main thing is that we're going so bullish on the metaverse, right? And we're wanting to build so many experiences and so many kind of community spaces that we're trying to like introduce you guys to the metaverse. We're trying to encourage you guys to come and hang out in the metaverse. And it's important to be able to have like some identity, some representation, you know, something to like distinguish yourself when you're actually in there, right?
Yeah.
Just have some cool drip.
Yeah, some cool drip. But you know, there's a really big reason why we're doing this stuff. One of them, yes, is to introduce you guys to these virtual spaces, and Decentraland is one. But in the NFT space, you have to predict what's the next phase.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like how 3 years ago people were buying art for $10, $20 and sending their friends art for free, and no one really thought much of it. They thought it was valueless. It's like, oh, what am I going to do with this art piece? That's great. I'll keep it for $50 in my thing. Same art piece is going for millions of dollars now. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because art is a monster industry. There's millions of people now, thousands, if not tens of thousands of people collecting art, right? But at that time, it was not known. It seemed valueless. What we're doing right now is bringing these licensed partners and brands and doing the first wearable drop from them, or a wearable drop from them. The fact that we have Artifact Studio shoes, who knows if they're going to do more wearables? They might. They probably will. And they'll probably go on to do a massive brand. But their stuff will be iconic once they become pretty big, right? So we're trying to not only bring just any wearable, we're doing licensed sort of wearables or collabs with Vogu. Who knows how big Vogu is going to be? Who knows how big any other wearable partnerships that we are going to be. Yes, you cannot, maybe if you try and sell it immediately, you might not get a good price, but that's not, at this point, it's probably better to one, deck yourself out in the metaverse when you go in there, and two, just hold on to it, because you never know which one's going to be iconic as the metaverse takes shape. The reality is, in these virtual worlds, there's not that many people. When there's millions of people, what do you think is going to hold the most value? Yeah. So you got to like, what I'm trying to do and what we're trying to do is predict the future and trying to get you guys set up in parts of that future.
The other thing is that like, it's kind of, with these partnerships, it's like a step along the road. With Artifact Studios, for instance, step one of our partnership with them was getting them to design a Metakey, right? And at that time, they were nowhere near the kind of monster that they're becoming now, right? Step two was having them make some exclusive shoes for us in Decentraland. Step three was, you know, allowing pre-minting early access for Edition 2 artifacts holders to their avatar drop, which is probably going to be absolutely huge as well. So what we're thinking when we're reaching out and doing these collaborative wearables with these projects is we're identifying projects that have promise, that we think are building really cool stuff. And we're like, okay, here's like the first step, you know. Second step, it might be making shared experiences, or, you know, I think Artifact kind of represents the potential, right? For a lot of these. Yeah.
Artifact's not going to be the only studio that goes out to do really big things.
No, of course not. Of course
There's going to be many.
Yeah.
And this is why for us integrations are so important and partnerships are so important, because we want to, one, connect, and two, align with what their growth, the growth of everyone that's serious in this space is actually a collaborative growth. It's not like, oh, one blasts off and they're solo, they do their own thing. It's kind of like, you know, one does well, then we bring in everyone else. Just like if Metakey does well, you know, we're going to talk to other projects. Vogu was kind enough to do some stuff with us. Artifact were nice enough to let us do some stuff with them. And it's a collaborative space. It's a different sort of dimension we're moving into.
Yeah, and the other point you made, like with art, for instance, art is a huge industry, but it's an industry that's dwarfed by the gaming industry, right? And the metaverse is just kind of, in a lot of ways, an extension of that, right? So us preparing for this massive explosion in NFTs related to gaming and metaverse experiences is a pretty safe bet. So that's what we're preparing for, basically. Speaking of gaming experience, we've got this Eververse hoverboard that is going to be coming pretty soon. We're negotiating the distribution for that.
Is that okay? So that's an NFT.
Yeah.
Or is that what Metakey turns into?
What I want this to be. So we've got this one here, right? This is for Galaxy Fight Club, which is basically touting itself as the Super Smash Bros. Of NFTs. And when you hold a Metakey and play the game, you will just be able to access this weapon. Like the Metakey just becomes that weapon rather than having like a separate drop. That way it doesn't mess with scarcity for their NFTs, but it's also future proof, right? Where someone who buys an edition 5, an edition 6, an edition 7, they're going to be able to go and play that game and they're going to have access to this thing. This is what I want from this hoverboard. It's a little bit more difficult for the developers of these games because they actually need to like code in the Metakey rather than just like dropping us an NFT, So it's a little bit more difficult, but the proposition is that, well, our community is growing exponentially and we are going to be able to continue directing people to your game, for a long time, right? If you have the Metakey support kind of like baked in. And that's, I think, ultimately like what we want from a lot of these. So we got the hoverboard, we've got this weapon. I love that they're, the same kind of design language, probably because they were both designed by Billy around the same time. He's very consistent. Yeah. And then we had, as I mentioned, this this kind of test for community-generated art that we're distributing. And we're basically going to take this as a proof of concept to do a lot more of these from now on. I think you mentioned the other day that you wanted even like once a month. If we got so many like really talented artists in our community, and we basically want to put it to the DAO to which people we're going to get to do this art, and then subsequently basically mint and distribute once a month a new art piece, because people really enjoyed this, and it actually performed like pretty well. People were selling this on secondary for like 0.1, 0.2.
Really?
Like, yeah. I think it had something to do with, Paper D being who he is.
Yeah. That's quite interesting because we are our own little community, right? So we've got superstars in our community that will go on to become, really popular or well-known within our community. We're going to have our artists, our gamers, our developers, just like what's happening in the very macro NFT crypto world, they're going to start happening in niche communities now. Because those communities are going to become like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people within themselves, just like how the Axie community has their own artists, right? Yeah. If you look at what's going on there, they've got their own game builders, their own data website providers, their own investors, their own whales, their own gamers, their own streamers, their own... it's their own community, right? So this is pretty interesting because, Paper D is obviously a great artist, and what he does there, he's very talented at it. And we're kind of finding out who does what. But as we grow and expand, this is like the first ever sort of art drop that we did internally from him to our community. Yeah. And what we want to do is sort of set up this contract, very simple, frictionless thing that we can do internally. So the Metakey
it's already set up.
It's already set up, right?
It's already done.
So basically, any other artist that wants to make art can come and make art and tell us that they want to distribute it, and we'll just distribute it, and we can put royalties on it, just 100% going to you guys as the artist. I mean, you guys are doing it for the community, and it can be distributed that way.
So we don't want to like oversaturate this distribution, so it's not going to be a case of just like anyone that wants to drop anything can use this. Obviously, we're going to kind of vet it. We're going to use the DAO to sort of help us decide like who we're going to get to do what and drop. But I think we're saying about once a month, we want to be able to use this distribution model to allow someone to mint some art and distribute it to the community. And it doesn't just have to be art. It could be music. It could be could be anything. It could be like, a gaming NFT or something. They're like, hey, I just want to do this for the Metakey community.
And some of these artists, I'm telling you right now, will go on to be really good artists.
Oh, yeah.
And have an NFT career.
Yeah.
Just like how, and again, the reason why we do all this stuff is from experience, from what I know has worked previously. When industries were small, this is actually what they were doing. Like, for example, Nifty Gateway, Slime Sunday's art was selling for $40 a piece, right? And only 450 were minted. That's pretty much free. That's pretty much the gas fees that people are paying to mint this.
Yeah.
At $40 a piece, currently his pieces, Slime Sunday, I think it's called, I forgot what it's called, but that piece is selling for 15,000 USD. Right. Jeez. So yeah, again, you may look like this is negligible, and that's what people, they kind of marked off that industry back then as, oh, it's only $40. How is this going to go into tens of thousands of dollars? Oh, it's a free art piece. It's just a free mint or whatever. Free mints in NFT projects. Some of them, like for example, some projects like Gods Unchained gave away a free card if you were to just bid on an auction. Whether that be a 50-cent bid or a dollar. And only 20 of those were claimed. Those are like one of the most expensive ones there. They're worth like 30 to 50K. So all of this stuff, NFTs are never to be underestimated. I know people that have collected, a lot of the really wealthy people today are those that were participating and spending that $50 here and $100 there. Didn't really know what they were doing, but just out of fun and participation ended up having a very iconic asset portfolio.
Yeah, don't sleep.
Don't sleep on these at all.
Another really interesting experiment that I think we were talking about yesterday is doing a kind of community generative art project where we get like a bunch of people to contribute like, a little layer or, a little like squiggle or some lines or a little doodle or whatever. And then we kind of like pack it all together into a process that will generate randomly generated artwork, right?
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing because if you guys have seen hash masks,
yes, that's right. Yeah,
hash masks is just, I think it was like 20 or 30 artists came together and made different layers.
Yeah.
That went on to become like one of the first sort of avatar / generated art piece, right, or collaborative art feature trait sort of thing. And you can see here what it looks like. And I was thinking, why don't we do this internally? Why don't we do people that are designing our own masks, our own layers, and we put this all together, and the hundreds, if not thousands of people in our community can go on and add their stamp into this, and we can just generate, 9,250 and distribute them, make them free to claim through that contract. And suddenly you have an iconic piece that everyone's contributed to, that everyone within the community has collabed on. And I reckon it's a freaking amazing idea. I reckon it'll be a lot of fun. I would love to do something.
I think that's a wonderful idea, honestly, for like a community
Let's
project
do it.
that everyone can have.
Let's do it.
All right, there you go.
Next week we're gonna. Next week we'll announce that we're doing it, and we'll come up with a plan on how to roll it out.
Okay, well there you go, guys. Whether you're an artist or not, maybe start thinking about some layer, some little doodle that you can make to contribute to this, because I think
and what we'll do is the royalties of this on the secondary, 100% of it will go towards the DAO treasury.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And the DAO treasury will be used to, I don't know what it'll be used for, maybe funding people's grants and projects and whatever they're working on.
I mean, it's largely used for, within reason, whatever the heck the DAO wants to do.
Yeah.
That's the DAO's prerogative. Okay. Well, that's fantastic. Boom. Another thing that's coming real soon, if I get back to Decentraland, we're going to do another Shark Tank. We were planning on doing it this Monday morning for us, which would be Sunday afternoon for North America. That's probably going to be pushed back a week or two. That's my bad. But the plan is still absolutely to do a Shark Tank every single month. We talked about the pitching proposal earlier, so you guys can have a look at that form. And we got a lot of other events coming down. Peanut Butter, one of our fantastic events managers, among other things, has proposed the idea of doing some video watch parties after the BYO Pills thing. People really enjoyed that. We're planning on actually starting to do these Captain's Logs live, probably from the next one. And I would love to basically send people over to the Shark Tank for now, or whatever building we've deployed that has screens in it, but the Shark Tank for now, to basically watch that and submit us some feedback, and we can have like a little kind of AMA segment over there.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's do that.
So we want to do stuff like that. And you were also talking about doing a Decentraland tour, again, for helping to introduce, new people to the metaverse, right?
I think we should have like a weekly tour where we can go and explore a certain area of the metaverse. And at the moment I say Decentraland, actually CryptoVoxel is completely open, and Somnium Space as well. So Somnium Space has virtual reality meetups. CryptoVoxels has a great community. And we can start to do once a week, we can start to say, hey guys, let's all start hanging out at the north side of CryptoVoxels. So if you guys don't know how any of this stuff works, you can join in during that session. And Kevin, Peanut Butter, Michael, whoever it is leading that, can take you around and show you guys and do like a half an hour, 1 hour sort of, hey, like this is the sort of stuff happening in this area. And that way, again, we're introducing you guys to the metaverse. And this is just getting everyone used to it, because we're going to be building so much, like the Metakey is really going to exist and transform into multiple things in the metaverse concept, right? You're going to be doing so many things in these spaces. So at this point, we're just getting people familiar with it. When we have all of our stuff built out, probably in the next 6 to 8 months, it's going to take some time to really build out across all metaverse projects. And I know for a fact that there's actually 10 to 15 more metaverse concepts coming out, right? With their own land cells and their own things. So we need to start this culture of exploring this space and keeping in the know. Like you will know, wait a second, Decentraland has this coming, this is what they're building here, Atari is here, whatever. Maybe it's a good place to invest, or maybe it's a good place to hang out or build something here, right? It's knowledge is key. So another part of just filling in the gaps of what some of us don't know. You and I haven't been into Decentraland for a while, but I think it'll be really fun.
Like a lot of people, a lot of Metakey holders are not kind of necessarily super interested or super engaged in using these platforms and using these metaverse spaces. But one thing we all need to recognize is that they are not going anywhere, and that they are only kind of accelerating, and they are going to be one of the main kind of avenues for mass adoption, particularly into the gaming industry. So if you get chances to sort of familiarize yourself with it and get kind of comfortable with these spaces and understand these spaces a little better, that's going to be immensely valuable for everything I think that's coming down the pipeline in the space. So to that point, we want to do some hackathons and some game jams, which is basically going to be allowing the community to generate new utilities for the Metakey, new stuff that you can do with the Metakey. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the concept, a hackathon or a game jam, they're basically the same thing. They're about like having a window of 48 hours or a week to basically develop something. The game jam is obviously specifically about like gaming experiences, but the idea is we want to do one for Decentraland. We want to do a hackathon for Decentraland where we give people like a week to basically come up with a Metakey integration, a Metakey utility in Decentraland, and then basically the most promising ones, we will implement them, and we will obviously pay you to do so.
It's going to be a competition. It's going to be pretty damn big. We're going to do it with the largest metaverse projects in the space, and they'll push it out into their socials. It'll be a massive event where their community and our community will work to build games and integrations, whatever that may be for the Metakey. So I think we can do it ourselves manually and slowly build this, but why wouldn't it be cool for everyone to do it? And we'll gamify it, so there's massive prizes and stuff for everyone that participate or win it. And that way we can get a really good view of what people like. So maybe people just like turning into unicorns and running around GCL or Sandbox, right? Maybe people like them as pets. Maybe people like them as access. Maybe people like them as teleporters, or be able to fly and give them a stat boost or something in a game, right? We can start to see and get a lot of data back as to what sort of integrations people are looking for. But I reckon it's really awesome. It's a win for the community because there'll be hundreds of things to do. It's great prizes. I mean, we got 20 or so Metakey Edition 1s that we can give. They're like worth 30 to 40K each. We're well funded, so we can give $100,000 worth of prize money. For the community. Decentraland, or whoever wants to join in can put across their prize money. So it's going to be pretty big. We're going to go all out with it.
So we're going to do a hackathon for Decentraland, and then we're going to do a game jam for Sandbox, because we've got 276 Sandbox lands. 570. Oh my God, 576 Sandbox lands. And we could spend like the next 10 years building games on those, and we would like barely scratch the surface.
Yeah.
So we figure, hey, why not? Lots of you guys have got, great ideas and have got experience in various creative fields. Why not kind of open it up, give you guys an opportunity to help us like make some cool gamified experiences in Sandbox that we can all, have fun and explore together. So that'll be coming too. Two, I think, really exciting metaverse events. So we got some new Metakademy courses coming down the pipeline as well. I already mentioned that, but one in particular is going to be on thematic investing, particularly in play-to-earn games, and how to sort of get into that and get onto that train, which I think is going to be quite exciting. But lots of stuff coming down the pipeline for the Metakademy. Let's finally get to what all of the people that aren't brand new have kind of been sitting and waiting for. And that is...
I don't even know what it is.
Come on, what have we not talked about
Avatars?
yet? Yes, the avatars. So I think we kind of briefly touched on like what the point and the conceit of the avatars are. But let me make sure I switch over to this here. Okay, so this was our first tester with our captain of our avatar project. We were looking at so many of these avatar projects, realizing that identity and representation is so important in the NFT space, but something that the Metakey didn't have like natively, right? It's like I do see some people using like a screenshot of one of their Metakeys as their profile pic, and that's great, that's cool, but I think having, a dedicated like PFP project is a little bit more compelling. So we've dedicated like a huge amount of time and resources over the past 4 months.
This is like our first draft.
This is the very first draft.
4 months ago.
Yeah, and we went through this process of basically deciding what kind of style we wanted, what we wanted the design language to be, and this is what we're coming to. I'm going to be showing you guys now. So after the last captain's log, I dropped a bunch of them into the general key holder private chat, right, of what we had so far. And we got some really good feedback about things that people wanted to see, about kind of sharpening things up a little bit. And Billy's taken all of that to heart. And as you guys can see, he's really like worked to separate these layers with like some harder lines and stuff. And just making sure that everything like fits together and feels really kind of like fluid. And one of the big ones was about the hair, right? Having the hair be a little bit more volumetric. We had this issue, right? So you look at the hats here, right? Is that we had to have every single hairstyle fit with every single hat, every single like face piece, like an eye patch or whatever. And that was very like restricted for the hairstyles. They had to be like quite flat and kind of like sitting against the head. And you guys told us, no, we want like, more volume, more life to the hair. So what Billy realized is that he was going to have to basically make a copy of every single hat and every single kind of facial trait, like eye patches and masks and stuff like that, and then custom make it to every single hairstyle, which is a massive amount of work for him and a massive amount of coding for Victor. But Billy, being a perfectionist, was like, all right, I'm just going to do it.
Why did you do it? Oh, shit.
So what we've seen between this and this is over 1,000 hours of work that Billy has put in, basically, between what you see here and what you see here. So this is where we're at the moment, and it's like, I think it's there, like it's 99.95% done.
I like the Rubik's Cube earrings.
Yeah,
really cool.
That's cool, isn't it? Yeah. So we just got some random
waves.
tests here. You guys can see the hair there as well.
He's changed the color on the hair as well.
He's changed the color, but more importantly, he's changed the sort of like rendering style of it to be a lot more kind of like volumetric. It's going to translate really nicely into 3D, which we'll come to in a moment. But we just want all these to like read a lot better, read a lot sharper. So we've got a couple of tests to show you guys here. You can see he's also been really polishing up like the outfits and the weapons, and he's made some pretty dramatic changes to the faces as well. All the robot faces are new. There we go. We've got the 3 of them there. Those are the 3 different robot faces that you can roll.
Cool. He's got the angry face.
Yeah.
They all got different rarities, or?
No, the robot faces, I'm pretty sure these are all going to be the same rarity. The robots are going to be quite rare.
They're going to be quite rare.
Yeah,
well, then
they're
if
gonna be quite rare.
the robots are going to be quite rare, and they've all got different faces, then there might be like just one or two of the green robots. Then.
Could be, yeah. Could be. Yeah, so we'll just keep going through a few of these. This is the captain's outfit, of course. This is going to be like the rarest outfit that you can roll, basically. Still not going to say anything about this guy. I'll let you guys make up your own mind about what's going on there. This guy looks really familiar.
He does.
Have you figured it out?
You guys were talking about him before. Looks like Legolas.
No, it doesn't look like Legolas. I mean, I guess it's kind of...
Witcher?
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as cool as this guy is, I prefer this guy.
Nice. I'll go back to it. I like how the...
It's good, eh?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I like this
I like how they look completely different.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Well, obviously, one's an alien.
Hey, you can't prove that.
I mean, one's a...
So I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is.
Here's our ghouls. These ones are going to be quite rare as well. And what you're seeing here is we've got these aura traits. This one, anyone can roll. And this one will actually stack with the keyhold ones. But what we're seeing here, these backgrounds that we're seeing, these are all going to be Edition 4. So Edition 4 has got like quite a variety of backgrounds that they can roll. If you hold one of the collector's editions, however, you're going to have a unique aura, which we've been playing around with a lot. And we've basically decided that the aura pops a lot more when you attach it to a specific background, right? So this is the Gen 3 aura. It correlates with the color of the Gen 3 role in Discord. We made them all the Discord colors.
She's got the captain's
She's got the captain's sword as well, yeah. But for the sake of consistency, it's the same as the Discord role colors. But you can kind of see, like, if you took that purple aura, as we were doing with previous generation tests, and applied it to like a white background like this, it doesn't pop. It gets like very washed out. Whereas it looks a lot more compelling with that contrast. So basically, what we're thinking at the moment is that every Gen 3 is going to have the option of having this aura. And if you have this aura, you will have this background.
What about...
go along with it.
You said the other aura stacks, but if you were to add it to this, because it has a black background,
it'll be on top, and it looks good. It actually does look good. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know if we've got one in here, but I've seen it. It looks good. This is Gen 2 with the red.
Nice.
This is Gen 1 with the gold, and this is Keymaster with the blue.
Nice.
And
that's like the Dragon Ball Z.
The Super Saiyan God.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. But what we want to do here as well, and you can kind of see it a little bit here, but we need to crank it up a little bit more as well, is that the opacity, I think, for the background is gonna crank up with each like progressive generation. So the Gen 3 is gonna be like a little bit more subtle, a little bit more washed out. The Gen 2 is gonna be a little bit brighter. The Gen 1 is gonna be a little bit brighter, and then the Keymaster one is just gonna be like like full Super Saiyan. Yeah.
I wonder if you can do like little rocks flying up, like the Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan sort of thing.
Yeah, what Billy wants to do with this one in particular is add a lot more of these like lightning effects and stuff like that. Yeah, and just make it pop a lot more.
That looks pretty damn cool though.
Yeah, but this is where we're at the moment. I know some people might not like the fact that every single Keymaster is going to have the same background. But I think what it does, whether you like it as a personal preference or not, it's instantly recognizable, right? You'll instantly look at it and be like, that's a Keymaster avatar. That's rare as heck, you know? So even as a Keymaster, if you roll an avatar that you don't love, it's going to be like instantly recognizable as being like, true. Really valuable.
Because there's only 250 Keymasters or 230 or something. And so if they were to have any of their avatars suddenly becomes recognizable as that. So if they put it as a profile pic, then people know they're a Keymaster. That's pretty cool.
And same with Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3. It's like you can tell immediately.
Yeah. And that's why Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3 hold their value, guys, is because we got like this extra they are the collector series. Yeah. And that's why people have gone on to hold on to them, because they're kind of going to be more scarcer.
Yeah.
as we grow our brand.
Yeah. So Gen 4, you'll be rolling these kinds of backgrounds, and you'll be rolling the same traits. Like the characters, you're not locked out of rare traits for the characters. That's all the same. So Gen 4 could roll this one, which would be extremely rare.
So it'd be really rare if they get like
if they get a ghoul and an aura.
Yeah.
Are you talking about a stacked aura? Yeah. If you get stacked auras, if you get that black aura with like a key holder aura, that would be extremely rare.
And be like an alien or a robot. That'd be
yeah.
like, holy shit.
Oh yeah, that'd be crazy rare. Yeah. This one already, like that weapon, that's the rarest weapon because that's the captain's weapon, of course. This guy, robots are going to be quite rare, and he's got the Gen 2 aura.
Is he a happy robot?
This guy, Gen 1, with the ghoul, the Revenant, I should say, they don't like being called ghouls, is going to be very rare.
The ghoul has a beard.
Yeah, the ghoul has a beard.
I love it.
Why not? Right?
Half ghoul.
And he's got his gamer glasses. And Billy's trying to convince me that this is me, and I don't know. This is me on like a very good day, I think. Like a really
luscious hair.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, so there's the Keymaster. Hey guys, it's Michael from the future here, editing this captain's log right now and realizing that we forgot to mention something because I'm a dummy. The Metacrew avatars are going to be claimable for free by absolutely every single Metakey holder. We will elucidate on the distribution a little bit closer to the release date, so keep an eye on announcements, etc. for that. But we will be distributing them for free to all holders of every edition. It will be one key to one avatar. You won't have to split your keys across multiple wallets. And I think we're going to be looking at launching them in about 2 or 3 weeks. Is that right, Matty? 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, about that.
Okay, there you go. 2 or 3 weeks. A lot of you guys have also been asking about the difference in utility between the Metakey and the Metacrew avatars. And we're still basically ironing that out. But for the most part, as far as we're concerned, the Metakey represents access and the Metacrew represents identity, specifically identity in the metaverse and in gaming spaces. So if you want to have, a custom avatar in various game spaces for the Metakey, that will be your Metacrew avatar. But if you want to access stuff like the Metakademy or future platforms, that will all be done through the Metakey. So yeah, we've been working on the avatars, and by we I mean Billy and Vic.
Yeah, you've just been giving feedback.
Yeah, we've just been telling them what to do. We've also been working on the landing page of the website for them, which is going to include a lot of cool art, kind of showing off our lore. I've been doing some content writing for this because like lore and world building is going to be really important as we plug these into all kinds of different spaces. So there's a preview of a little art piece of the world where the Revenant tend to be found. It's called Umbriel. It's a metaverse game that was kind of half built and abandoned and has just been sitting idly for years, and people use it as like a dumping ground. Basically, when you burn NFTs, this is where they go to.
You have to make this in DCL somewhere. Maybe in the corner. Some corner land.
So Revenants are born. We have this. I know I've said this before, but for those of you who are new, Revenants are born when people try to mint themselves. We've got this process in our lore where you can mint humans onto the blockchain to transfer your genetic information and your neurological information, basically, to mint it into an NFT. It doesn't always work. Sometimes the neurological data and the genetic data are separated, and then you get basically these mindless zombies, effectively, which are what the Revenants are. And a lot of them are like not intelligent and are just kind of like beasts and monsters, but some of them do kind of maintain a sense of self and a sense of humanity, even though they don't have any memory. And those are the ones that are joining the Metacrew, and that's why they're quite rare. But there's a whole lot of them in this world. So Billy's showing off some of that. Okay, getting ahead of ourselves.
Well,
so we're working on the website, but we're also working on every single one of them is going to be 3D. Every single one, no matter what traits you roll, is going to be 3D. So this is some concept art of the 3D ones to give you an idea of like what these outfits are going to look like. So you roll this outfit, you can see kind of the rest of the outfit there. Same with this guy,
complete concept, by the way.
Yeah, the complete concept, right.
It's like scribbled by
Yeah.
Billy.
Yeah, scribbled by Billy in like 20 minutes, yeah. But what we've done is we've taken this one to start with there, and we've actually started rendering these in 3D.
Ah.
Yeah. So
it's got some color. I haven't seen the colored ones.
Yeah. So you can see the design language. You can see how these are all going to translate into 3D, what the skeleton's going to kind of look like. But we're going to be plugging this into our game and various other games. You're going to be able to play as your avatar.
So we haven't told anyone that we're making our games yet.
Yeah, we have. We mentioned that. We mentioned that in the last captain's log.
No, but not in this one.
No, not in this one. No, but we're coming to.
Oh, we're coming to it, are we?
I just dropped
my
it
bad.
there.
My bad.
I just let it slip there. But yes, in our game and in various other games, you're going to be able to play as your avatar. You're going to get a full 3D equivalent. So the 2D guys, they're coming first. But basically, if you roll her, this is the traits that you roll. You are going to be getting this one as well.
Nice.
And that'll be you. Nice. That'll be your
you in 3D worlds.
Metaverse representation. Yeah. And you'll be taking that into our currently unnamed battle arena game. We talked about this a lot more in the last captain's log, but we've got just basically some 3D concept there of what that's going to look like. But the crux of this is basically that you are going to be defending this portal against waves of enemies, playing as your avatar, and then after a certain timer, you're going to be transported into a new arena, a new level, and they're going to represent different partnerships, right? So we'll have like a Vogu themed one. We'll have, if we partner with Bored Apes, a Bored Apes themed one where you'll be getting attacked by like, feral, mutant apes or whatever. And also, ultimately, we want to be able to plug in all these other NFT projects as well. So, like, yes, you play as your Metakey avatar, but if you have a Vogu, you can play as a Vogu as well.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's again, it allows us to do a lot of things like that, where it gives us this whole new use case for our NFTs, where we can use, our Metakeys to maybe give stat boosts. Different Metakeys, maybe have different swords. We can drop sword NFTs where you have your weapon as well with your character. Yeah. The character will go in 3D. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so this first game is really just like a proof of concept for us. We're building a games dev team, a small team to make this game.
But we haven't 100% chosen that this is the game, right? This is just a concept.
No, this is the concept.
Maybe 60% of the way there, but maybe there's another game we'll go with as the first one.
Yeah, exactly. This is a concept, but we have basically decided that we're gonna be making games. We're gonna be plugging into a lot of other games, but at the same time, we don't want to wait for other games to catch up. We're like, no, we'll do it. We'll do our own. After this first iteration, we'll kind of take what we learn and make another one, and then make another one, and hopefully, keep supporting these ones. But that's definitely the kind of direction we want to be moving on. Is that like one facet of the Metakey is going to be making games and making gamified experiences. And that's not going to be at the expense of the other stuff that we're doing. That's just like more people that we're hiring to do another thing, to explore another kind of avenue, right? So that will be coming sometime next year. Okay. Did you see that?
No.
I just, let me have a look at our notes. Yeah, we talked about Metakey games. We talked about we're getting more hires happening, more mods. We're hiring more devs. We're hiring more artists. You've got your researchers. What else?
Researchers, devs, social admins.
Yeah.
Integrations people, so those that can lead those conversations and start to chase other projects to integrate into.
Yep.
Game designers, and then all of them working together.
Yeah. So we're gonna have about 20 people in house in about 6 months' time.
Yeah. Probably in the 4 months we'll probably have 20. Yeah.
You reckon in 4 months we'll have 20? Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll have 15 by the end of this year.
Okay.
And then our next round of capital, we will probably get another 3 to 5.
Okay. Awesome. So that's that's basically what we've got coming. We could keep talking about it for another hour, but this has already been a longer show than usual. And Matty did announce in Discord that it was going to be an hour, and he lied. He lied to you. I'm sorry, but he did. And he knew it.
Did I say an hour?
You said an hour. You knew there was no way.
There you go. If you timestamp it, I guess a recap's like 20, 30 minutes.
That's true. Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to leave you guys with this, which Billy's working on right now.
Nice. Again, a complete concept.
What
is this?
This is our captain.
Yeah, but what? It's just a.
This is
Billy.
This is just a piece that he's working on that we may or may not distribute to people somehow. Okay. And when it's done, we may or may not definitely have it hanging up on the wall here.
Yeah. I think it's a draft. I think you said he hasn't even.
Yeah, this is work in progress.
Complete work in progress.
Well. This is a complete work in progress. But he wanted to do our captain justice and give her a proper portrait. So this is a couple of hours into that. But yeah, that's our captain. There she is.
There you go.
So, anything else you want to touch on?
No, that's it. Thanks for all the new people trusting us and buying a key, whether you bought on primary and secondary. It takes time to build these things out. We try and be efficient, but it's some stuff that people don't see on the outside is the company culture. Yeah. COVID, people, just not performing. Obviously, there's this concept of COVID and all that, and they have their own problems and stuff, whatever that may be. But just we have a lot of stuff that we're doing. Some of them will come out immediately. Some of the fun stuff will take time to roll out, but we're only going to get more efficient and quicker at doing things. So my experience with Decentraland, obviously being a community member of the NFT space, right? It blew up now after 4 years. But for 3 years, we were slowly building. We were trying our best, but that growth was slow, but it was there. And it eventuated to a monster project. So we always kind of talk about the Metakey project as being a long-term one. This is not one where you go in and then boom, prices go up 50x. It might, I don't know.
Could.
But
not because we're pumping it.
Yeah, no, that's not our intent. Our intention is to just build out what we think is going to be a great project that will bring value to the keys and everyone else involved, and then just keep doing our thing in the long term.
Yeah, I think this is something that kind of separates us from a lot of projects, right? Is that we're not about pumping the floors and making everyone on the team rich and then going and buying Lambos and retiring. This is not a quick turnaround. This is something that we want to build up for years and years and years and really create one of the pillars of the kind of Web3 infrastructure, right? We want that to be the Metakey. We want the Metakey to be this kind of all access, rewards card that it's just a no-brainer. That's what we aspire to, and we're really not going to settle for anything less. So we're just going to keep building and building.
Yep.
And we really appreciate you guys being along for the ride, because it's a hell of a ride.
Yeah.
So with that said, I feel like there's so many other things that we could talk about, but this really has been quite a long one. So if you guys want to learn more, check out the blog post in the description below. You can go and have a look at the previous captain's logs, have a skim through to see how we've gotten to where we are now in a little bit more detail. Make sure you're following us in all the places. Go follow us on Twitch, because we're going to be doing a lot more stuff on there in the near future. But thank you all so much and welcome aboard. We really appreciate your time.
Awesome, guys.
Take care. Take care, everyone. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
See ya.